Hiya, thank you for clicking on this video. I do have a lot of notes here, so I want to try and make this as kind of concise as I can, but before I get right into the video, I just wanted to say about my first video on anorexia that I did, which I'll link in the description if you haven't seen it already. I just wanted to say thank you because I had so many lovely responses and support, whether that be on YouTube, on Facebook, in person. Like, everyone's just been so lovely, and yeah, I just wanted to say thank you because it was amazing, and because I didn't really know what to expect from it, really. Yeah, thank you so much. That really meant a lot. So, but anyways, I'll get into the video before I start waffling on. There are a lot of different side effects to the body's response of weight restoration after it's been starved, basically. It's something that isn't talked about pretty much at all. From what I've found, like from my experiences when I was going through it, people had really not much idea as to what I was talking about, and it was very confusing for people to understand because the symptoms are so bizarre. So that's really why I wanted to make this video. Also for people to, if you are experiencing this is the kind of video I probably would have liked to have seen, or so you know that it's normal and it's okay and it is temporary. The two most kind of invasive side effects that I found I had were muscle pain and water retention. I just wanted to say, just don't be scared by it because it really scared me. I had no idea what was going on with my body. Also, not everyone has these symptoms. Recovery for everyone is very subjective anyway, so don't expect to have exactly the same thing I've had. I guess this is just for you to take what you want from it. These symptoms are the body's direct physical response to nutrition. I had muscle pain and the stiffness first, but to be honest, muscle pain and water retention do go hand in hand. When you're anorexic, your muscle and your tissue has been destroyed. I had a very blatant way of looking at the recovery, which was very lucky for me, and it made it a lot easier. Try and think of it as your body is basically regenerating muscle and tissue from nowhere, so it's going to be painful, and that is why it hurts so much. That kind of made sense to me, so just to be prepared. I guess for me the muscle pain was everywhere, but specifically like everywhere on my arms, everywhere on my legs, and also at the back of my neck and across my shoulders, kind of like a coat hanger I would describe it. Like, it felt like I had iron rope like attached at the back of my head to my shoulder, so it felt like I was constantly having to kind of yank my head forward. So in terms of what this feels like, on my thighs, like the front of my thighs, it felt like someone was whittling, kind of thinning off layers of my muscle, and it was being ripped. Especially if I was walking upstairs or doing any kind of strenuous exercise, which is pretty much just walking for me. Also, I described it as like white hot pins being dragged from the inside out down my thighs. So if you're getting that as well, that's normal. Pins and needles down the back of your legs, like in your tendons. Now that is the repair of the nervous system, which is kind of horrible to think about and pretty scary as well. So just get runs of pins and needles and tingling down the back of, you know, when you've been standing for too long basically, and you sometimes get that. Apparently the repair of the nervous system, which is what I found about online. And with that as well comes muscle stiffness. So I felt like my joints were rusted. I couldn't do anything quickly. The most simplest tasks felt kind of impossible for me. I felt like I could only move in slow motion, which it didn't look like, but it felt like every time I did anything. I remember I was eating a bowl of cereal and it felt like I was holding up a bucket of water. It was the most insane thing. And my experience of water retention, this is probably the most complex to describe, but the simplest way, this is what I've written down. Sorry, I keep looking down by the way. This is how I saw it. In your arms, just anywhere on your body, that's where the water retention is going to surround and feed. That's kind of how I saw it. Your body will surround the areas of waste where your muscle and tissue destruction has been until it's repaired, basically. So this feels like a soft numbness, like a kind of cover underneath your skin over your muscles and your body. Obviously if you've had water retention before, you know what this is about, but it's stretchy, which is just bizarre because for me it was numb. So I could grab like a handful of my thigh, twist it, and it wouldn't hurt. The less it was, if I did the same thing and if I twisted it, it would take a couple of seconds to like go through the water retention and then I would feel it. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why it's so awful for someone who's had anorexia to have, is that it's not blindingly obvious to other people. It just looks like normal fat. So I would describe it as every contour of your body, if you have water retention everywhere, which is what I had, it just levels every contour off. So my collarbone here, it would kind of flatten it out, and also like I had it really badly around my neck as well, so my jaw, that if I turn to the side, that bit was just not there. It just looks soft, basically. You just soften out. and it's strange to try and describe it to people. I think water retention in my face was probably the scariest part of it because I had no definition, like cheekbones, anything. Like my nose kind of changed shape a bit because it would puff up on my eyes, like you get it quite badly around your eyelids as well, and it puffed up the bridge of my nose area. So it was kind of level with my eyes, if that makes sense. So my nose was kind of flattened out. My cheeks were puffy. I kind of described it as just like I felt like I had a moon phase. Also, if I raised my eyebrows, I would have no worry lines because it was all just filled with water retention. I would describe it as the scariest part was because when it did kick off around my face, it kind of goes up and down. You'll have good days and bad days. It would feel like there were two little hose pipes under my ears filling up my face and my jaw with water. I just felt really claustrophobic in my own face, and to experience that is just horrifying. I'll put in a couple of pictures like of my neck if I can kind of like crop out the top part of my face. Like I said, that was just everywhere with me. It was on my fingers, like I didn't fit my rings. Also whenever I would bend my fingers or my arms or my legs, it would feel like there was thread like really tightly wrapped around it. So when I bent them, it felt like I was kind of cutting off the blood flow or something, and it felt like the fleshy parts of my body were just going to pop because it felt so condensed and pressured. It's such an obscure side effect to have, and it's so difficult for other people to see as well because it's more of a feeling than something that other people can see. Everything about water retention, if someone is scared of putting on weight, it kind of makes it so difficult to kind of get your head around. I did take photos of myself while I was having the water retention, but in a way that I would look at it and I would think, like, this time next month I'm not going to have that because I'm going to have eaten enough for it to have gone down. And it can only go if you keep eating and if you don't relapse. Just have to remember it's temporary, and definitely go and see a nutritionist because they'll be able to give you advice on how to kind of get through it as quickly as possible. The water retention was also the longest section of recovery for me in terms of side effects, and it would move to different areas of my body depending on where it had been sorted out and like recovered from. It would stay there until it was done, and then it would go somewhere else, which was really strange, but at least I could kind of tell when it was working and when it was done. Personally, this was the nutrition advice I had, and she told me to get over the water retention quickly, a healthy high-fat diet, which again, if you know someone with anorexia, that might flip them out a little bit, but at this point I was just wanted to get better so bad I didn't care. Like I honestly, the amount of stuff I ate over summer was just going for it. I was just like, this is not gonna be in my body anymore. I'm just gonna eat until this water retention is gone. Yeah, she advised me to up my healthy fat intake, so you need to get personal advice for this yourself, but I went on to like full fat milk, cheesy omelettes for breakfast, chia seeds and Greek yogurt. I hate Greek yogurt, I think it's absolutely foul, personally, sorry if you love it. To begin with, I mean, I went to a nutritionist quite late on in the recovery, so up until then I wasn't necessarily eating specific foods like a high fat diet, I was just eating a lot. So even though that was helping, it wasn't helping get rid of the water retention as quickly as it could have been. And I did realise after I did up the fat intake, it was going a lot faster, which was great because it was coming up to the start of uni and I was like, I have to be better by uni. Also, I would recommend going to a nutritionist over seeing a GP. She was the only person who, when I described my symptoms, actually understood what they were. I went to 3 doctors. I was trying to show the water retention to one of them and he was just, I could tell, like he just didn't believe, I don't want to say that he didn't believe me, but he was just looking at my body as though it was just like normal body fat. Then I was asking him about anorexia recovery. To quote his words, he said, "This isn't my area of expertise," and I was like, how do doctors not know about this? It was just quite disheartening as well. Like you think you're going to a doctor who's going to be able to help you with anorexia recovery, and in my experience none of them knew about what it was. So, and also the nutritionist I went to was a sports physician, so I would really recommend that. There are going to be times during the recovery you don't think it's doing anything. Like you've got these symptoms, you're eating and nothing is happening. I think that was one of the most difficult parts for me. I was so scared that I was just in this kind of purgatory forever. Just feel like I was gonna go crazy because I was like, nothing's working. I'm trying so hard to do the right things, and I feel like I definitely could have cut that short by seeing a nutritionist earlier. It just felt like it was going on forever and I felt like I was just never going to get better basically. And I was so lucky to have summer because I honestly think if I started recovering in uni, I probably would have had to have left, not only with the body image and the water retention and stuff, but because I wasn't physically capable of doing anything. And I was so lucky to have that mindset as well, that I didn't relapse and I knew that everything was happening for a reason and it was helping me. And this is something that my godmother says a lot and it's so true, and that you just have to trust the process. That's the only thing you can do, because what you're doing during recovery is everything right. When you're having these symptoms, it means that it's working, and you just have to trust that these are the most horrible symptoms you can have, but they're what you need to get better. Once you accept that you have to trust that process, and it is only a process, like it's gonna go. And I hope this video isn't too scary. I can see why people don't talk about it, for the fear that it's going to trigger people into a relapse, because they're just like, oh, I don't want to go through that because it's not worth it, but it is so worth it. And I just want this video to kind of prove that you're not going to have water retention forever if you do the right things. So I hope that I've expressed all this in a way that I was hoping to, because it is really difficult to describe. And I hope that it's useful as well. If someone's trying to describe to you what's happening to them, please don't believe them, I guess, because you might not be able to see it. And that was something else that I was really grateful for, because my family and my friends just showed me so much support, and when I explained it to them, they weren't just like, oh, that's stupid, like you're lying or anything like that. Keep going, please keep going if you're going through it, because it's so worth it by the end of it. It does take a long time. You just have to be so careful with yourself and take care of yourself. You are going to be fine if you carry on. I hope this helps. Thank you so much for watching this video. The next video I want to do, I want it to be just a chill morning coffee, like chatty thing, because I understand it has been quite heavy going recently. So yeah, the next time I see you, it would just be like a kind of chatty, putting on my makeup, talking about random shenanigans and stuff. So it will be a chill time, you know? It's not going to be intense. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. So my face is twitching. My voice has gone so good. Oh, someone's filming outside. Standing next to a bin, I don't know why he's doing that, but you know. How cool is it? Why is he pointing at this building? I don't even know what time it is. What day is it?